Welcome and welcome back, and happy Halloween Eve. I'm B, and today I'm discussing the movie Longlegs, written and directed by Osgood Perkins, the son of Scream King Anthony Perkins. In Longlegs, FBI agent Lee Harker is assigned to an unsolved serial killer case that takes an unexpected turn, revealing evidence of the occult. Harker discovers a personal connection to the killer and must stop him before he strikes again. So I was finally able to watch Longlegs. I watched it on Prime for rent. It was around $6. And I didn't watch much of the marketing for this movie. I think I saw maybe a teaser trailer and read the synopsis. So I was aware that Nicolas Cage was going to be in the movie, but I didn't know that Blair Underwood was in it. So I was pleasantly surprised to see him. I thought Longlegs was going to be a crime investigation movie with some horror elements. I knew that the serial killer was involved with the occult, but I didn't expect there would be real supernatural things happening in the movie. I love supernatural horror, so I didn't mind there being some supernatural elements. I do wonder, though, if the movie would have been better if it were more grounded in reality, like Silence of the Lambs. After watching this movie, I didn't know how I felt about it. I had to process it a bit, and I am still processing it. There was something missing, but I can't put my finger on what exactly it is. And it wasn't a bad movie. I liked it, but there needed to be something more. And what that something is, I don't know yet. I think that Nicolas Cage did a great job as Longlegs. His performance was unsettling, weird, and creepy, which I like in my horror villains. I think they did a good job with the costume and the makeup. I was a little disgusted by the way he looked and his movements, so I think they achieved their goal with that. I initially didn't even realize that it was him. And I really liked the opening scene. It looked like it was filmed with an old camcorder. The panning shot to the White House with the stark white snow was great. The cinematography was wonderful in this movie. It was really shot beautifully. In the beginning scene, we are introduced to Longlegs. I like that initially the only part of him that was shown was from his, I think it was from his mouth down. And we don't fully see his face as he's talking to the young girl, which we later learn is Agent Lee Harker. Then, when he says he was on his long legs today and stoops down to get to eye level with Harker, that was such a chilling shot. So the movie then focuses on an adult Lee Harker, who is a rookie FBI agent working on a case. She's initially presented as having psychic abilities. We see that when she was able to correctly identify the house of their suspect. Now, I was not expecting her partner to get shot in the face so quickly as he did in the beginning of the movie. And then Harker goes into the house and she's breathing really hard. Her breathing is so labored, and she often reacts with this labored breathing when she's faced with danger, which isn't abnormal. That's a normal reaction. However, it was like they turned up the volume on her breathing, and it adds to a sense of anxiety for the audience. Well, at least it did for me. After this happens, there's a scene where she's being tested by the FBI. I guess they were testing her psychic abilities. Because she does so well on the test, she's assigned to the Longlegs case that involves family unalivings in Oregon. Each case involves a father that unalives his family and then himself. A letter with satanic symbols are left behind at each scene and signed Longlegs. So Lee's able to figure out that each family had a 9-year-old daughter born on the 14th of the month, and the unalivings occur within 6 days before or after their birthday. There's a scene when Lee is at home talking to her mother, and she hears and sees someone lurking outside. Then that person, who is Longlegs, bangs on her door. She goes out to investigate, and we see a blur of him in her home, so she runs back inside. When she gets there, she finds a coded birthday card from Longlegs, warning her that revealing the source of the code would lead to her mother's murder. And this scene adequately builds up tension and anxiety. But I was like, girl, why didn't you inform anyone that this happened? It's kind of unrealistic to start cracking the code when you just had a serial killer break into your home. But, okay. So Lee and Agent Carter, who is played by Blair Underwood, finds a doll with a high energy metal orb inside after following a lead. We get some clues about the importance of the doll when the medical examiner seems mesmerized by the doll, even saying that he thought he heard his wife call his name from the metal orb. After that, Lee and Carter visit Carrie Ann in the psychiatric hospital. She's a sole survivor of Longlegs. Carrie Ann was creepy as hell. She was making threats in a lyrical, poetic way, and it was a great scene. When they went to the psychiatric facility, someone had signed in as Lee, which led Carter to do some digging, and Carter finds out that Lee's mother, Ruth, filed a police report of a stranger approaching Lee the day before her ninth birthday. So Lee was born on January 14th, we learn. So Lee is encouraged to speak to her mother about this, and Ruth is pretending like she doesn't remember this incident, but Lee then finds a picture that she took of Longlegs, and she provides that picture to the FBI, leading to the arrest of Longlegs. Here is Nicolas Cage again being weird and unsettling in the interrogation room. Lee wants to interrogate him because she thinks he has an accomplice, and she would be right. Little did she know it was her mother. She finds that out later in the movie, as we see. Before that, Longlegs is hinting about Ruth's involvement, and then he smashes his head on the table several times, and it was a very disturbing scene. Lee visits her mother after the incident along with Agent Browning for support. And when Lee is in the house, Ruth kills Agent Browning. And this is when we get the backstory of Ruth's involvement and the whole satanic worshiping setup. I don't think I mentioned this before, but Longlegs is a doll maker. He's a servant of the devil himself, and he's tasked with making these dolls in the image of the children that are unalive. I think the dolls are blessed by Satan, which makes them be able to have mind control over the family once it's in the same vicinity as them. So back to Lee's mother. I was surprised that the mother was the accomplice. I felt that there would be something with the mom, but not her being the actual accomplice. So Longlegs gave the option to Ruth, as he did to other people. She can either help him carry out Satan's work or her daughter dies. Obviously, Ruth opted to carry out Satan's work to protect her daughter. She pretends to be a nun to get the dolls into the family's homes. Ruth justifies this by saying she wanted Lee to be able to grow up. But we find out that Lee was being controlled by Satan through her own doll this whole time. Her psychic abilities come from the devil. So Lee wasn't able to live her own life. Yeah, she was able to grow up, but her life wasn't her own. And this explains Lee's presentation. So initially, I was wondering, is Lee autistic? And then I thought, no, it must be trauma from her childhood. But I don't think it was any of those things. She was under the influence of Satan. And I think that's why she presented the way that she did. From what I remember, Ruth shot Lee's doll in the head, and black smoke came out of Lee's head after that, and then she fainted. So Ruth said that Lee is free now. So I guess after shooting the doll, Lee's no longer under the control of Satan. That's how I interpreted that scene. But then when she got a call, and it was a demonic voice saying that she was late for Miss Ruby's birthday party, and Miss Ruby is Agent Carter's daughter, who we see earlier in the movie. So I don't know, maybe she's not completely free from its hold. I'm not really sure. So Lee goes to Carter's home for Miss Ruby's party, and Ruth is there. Miss Ruby is sitting with her doll, and so everyone is already under the control of the doll. The acting of Blair Underwood, the actress that plays the wife, and even the little girl that plays Miss Ruby was very chilling in that scene. It was really disturbing because the wife is kind of speaking in this Stepford wife kind of way, which she didn't speak in before. But also, it seems like she's choking a little bit. And then Carter and the wife go into the kitchen. And I believe the wife said, "We'll be right back." And Carter says, "No, I'll be right back. You'll still be in the kitchen." And that was some chilling shit that he said. So Carter unalives his wife, and Lee shoots him to protect the daughter. Lee also shot her mother. However, she wasn't able to shoot Ruby's doll. Either the gun jammed or she was being stopped by a supernatural force. I think it was a supernatural force. The final scene is of Longlegs saying, "Hail Satan," and blowing a kiss at the screen. And it was a very bleak ending, and I do like bleak endings. Overall, I did like the movie. As I said earlier, I'm still processing it and I feel like something might have been missing, but I can't put my finger on what that is. I was struggling to rate this movie, but I'll give it a 3 out of 5 Scream Queens for the time being. My mind might change. All right, so what did you think of Longlegs? Did it live up to your expectations? How many Scream Queens would you rate this movie? Let me know down in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more horror content.